society is evolving, and the issues of values and ethics and some of these things about lesbianism and gay issues during our time was so foreign and alien. Now we live in a world that we are being confronted with. Most nations that are Christian by definition also had these same issues confronting them. However, the church was too silent. The church didn't do much until it became almost too late. For then, when the church started rising up, it was almost too late, and then laws were passed. I believe that as a country and the Christian community, we must stand up against this. Yes, the president made his statement, but it wasn't emphatic like his predecessors. But what the president said was that it is something that will confront us. However, there hasn't been a lot of pressure groups that are advocating for it. That seems to suggest as if the president is saying, hey, pressure groups, keep on now, rise up and start talking about this. And perhaps when you do, we will listen. So the president's statement can be a little bit misleading. Even though he was not emphatic, what he said may seem to suggest that. But I believe that the churches must take up. One of the things that I have suggested to the council and to the Christian community, especially the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic churches, is the number one. We must have a complete stand. We must have a position on what we say and think about lesbianism, gay and transgender issues and what have you. Gpcc must have a position on this. That is number one. Number two, we should develop a training and a teaching manual that will be used in all Christian community and all Pentecostal and Charismatic churches, so that it will become a teaching manual that we would use about what the Bible says on this particular subject, and start teaching from our children's service through to the adult congregation. It should become like another teaching manual. This must be put together by the council. Number three, they should set up a date in a particular month. Maybe, for example, the month of February, or maybe the month of April. In that month, it should be dedicated to teachings on this particular subject about what the Bible says about lesbian and gayism and its punishment and consequences, for those who get themselves into those practices, so that every year it becomes a message that we must communicate. Number four, the GPCC should form a coalition, a council of religious bodies and traditional leaders that will form a council that will look at the subject matter. That is, they will fight against the infiltration of this particular demonic, abnormal behavior of society. When we have such a council, that will consist of all Christian, it must have the Christian representatives, the NAC, the GPCC, Christian Council, Catholic Secretariat. Then we have the Muslim Council representative on it. We have traditional leaders representative. So that becomes a coalition of a council that will ensure the campaign and the teaching against these things. And then also begin to lobby government that the material that may be developed should be a material that should be used from the kindergarten level through the lower primary, upper primary, secondary school, so that as a nation we will protect these values. We shouldn't allow foreign countries, whether America, Australia, UK, and what have you, to force those values on us. Why wouldn't they also legalize, polygamy? In our case, polygamy is now a normal way of behavior here. Why? But over there is a crime. So why would they think that if polygamy is a crime and people can be jailed for polygamy, why would they think that when people are being jailed for practicing this type of thing is an abuse of human rights? So they should take care of those values that they think they will cherish. We should also take care of the values that we believe we should cherish. But I believe that if the Christians are not going to stand up and work and deal with some of these things, it will take us by surprise. But these are some of the things I believe the council should lead. GPCC to provide some serious dynamic leadership in this particular area.
So, do you think is that easy for them to take such a position and do it in our country?
I have outlined about 4 or 5 things that should be done. The council can provide that leadership. First of all, developing a manual that would be acceptable and be used in all churches. It's an easy thing to do. Okay, strategically, and then you have to develop a strategy. So this thing should be very easy. GPCC leaders should take that leadership. When they lead, people will follow. As of now, the council is too quiet on some of these subject matters, and yet individuals are fighting it. So why should council be quiet and yet individuals? And you see, majority of the Christians are looking up to the Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic Council, looking up to the Christian Council, looking up to the Catholic. But I must say that most of the Catholic secretariat will always stand up against some of these things, more than the Pentecostal and the Charismatics. But I'm saying that it is about time Charismatics and Pentecostal Council redefine their functions and their role in our society. Otherwise, they will be irrelevant in our society. It is just not by clapping, boom, boom, clap your hands and shout Pentecostal songs that will make the impact. The GPCC has the numbers, but they don't have the relevance. And we should be able to have the necessary impact if we want to move our society.